Coming to you from that once-forgotten artery that pulses through the center of the continental United States and into the heart of the Ozarks, Grace Matthews. Looking in from the northern border, our Canadian friend, along with his countrymen feeling the effects of U.S. political issues, Connor Murphy.
Welcome to Dueling Dialogues, Episode 208. I'm Connor Murphy, here with Grace Matthews and the Hammer in Springfield, Missouri. Hi, you two.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Not a lot these days.
Yeah.
Quarantine. How does quarantine look up north there?
Things really haven't changed since our podcast last week. I think there's a few more people got called back to work. I have a friend that works in an old age home. Her job is making appointments for elderly people and arranging the transportation. So she got called back this week.
Well, that's positive. I just got a letter from my dentist saying that they can't do anything for at least 2 more months.
Oh, my.
First, yeah. Just now opened that mail. And he had called last month and rescheduled me to like the 22nd of April. Now they're saying it'll be June sometime before we even call you to reschedule.
Wow. Wow. Unreal.
Yeah, it is getting bad. They're expecting the United States to peak sometime towards the end of the month. So from the 15th to the 30th, they're looking for a peak. But now you got to understand they're looking for a peak in places like New York that are already ravaged.
Right.
The peaks for some of the rest of the places that are lagging behind New York, it's going to be later. So we very well may not go back to work in the United States until June.
Wow. Yeah, I'm hoping it's not going to be that long here for sure. I know that some of my construction friends have gone back to work this week.
They allow construction here.
Yeah, so I guess it's an essential service, and, things are getting busy for some of them. Like, people are sitting at home going, geez, maybe we should redo the bathroom.
Yeah, we got a person on the end of the block. I think they're redoing a bathroom.
Yeah, he just said people are scared to start a new job at this moment. They're thinking about it, wanting quotes, but saying this isn't going to start until this is all over. So I think there's a lot of, non-confidence in the markets, and people just aren't sure what's going to happen.
Well, because of our fabulous stimulus and a few of the things in that Phase 3 bill,
right?
People here are pretty damn happy. They're getting paid to stay home, and they're getting some stuff done. And I mean, they got cabin fever.
Right.
But people here are like, okay, so the market is kind of falling, but when everybody goes back to work, they're going to really want to spend some money because you haven't been spending that much money yet. It's still coming in, and you don't have to go to work.
Right.
So they're doing a really good job in the United States of making that okay. Now, what that's going to do to the deficit, we're just going to have to worry about that later. And That's being said by a Republican. It worries me, but, it's kind of like, when you've got an emergency surgery that's needed, you just don't worry about what the cost is.
Right. You guys aren't used to that. You have to be Canadian to be used to Trudeau giving our money to everybody. So
I know.
Gosh, he's borrowing money to give to people. So, yeah. There's a stimulus package here. It's they figure it's going to be like in the 70 billions or something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, we only got a tenth of the population you guys have.
That's what I was going to say. You got 30 million people, right? I just want to kind of refresh people's memory about how many Canadians there are.
Well, 9 months from now, it's going to be 40 million.
Who's coming?
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. Nobody's got a dime yet. I don't know.
Supposed to hit.
That's the big confusion. I mean, the opposition's going, well, okay, the packages are good, but the distribution. But nobody knows. Nobody knows.
They're a little worried about our distribution, not because the money's not there, but because President Trump wanted the federal government to at least be putting the unemployment money out. Now, the federal government is putting the stimulus money out because most of the states have systems that are 35 and 40 years old.
Right.
And so he's afraid that they're not going to be able to handle the overload. I didn't know most of the states. I don't even think Missouri was online 30, 40 years ago with a computer system, but maybe they were. I don't know.
As far as I know, they have closed the public buildings, the government, and they've taken a lot of those employees and they're using them where they're needed the most. So the only stimulus that I've heard of is if you apply for unemployment insurance or employment insurance, depending which one you use. You're supposed to get $1,000 immediately.
Yeah.
And what's immediately when it comes to the government? Probably 6 to 9 weeks.
Yeah. They said the stimulus money in the United States is going to go out. Everybody should be getting it in 3 weeks. Now, the stimulus money to cover payroll, utilities, and mortgages or rent for businesses, those can start coming out tomorrow, meaning you go into your bank, you apply, you're approved. That day, they can actually get you the money.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's phenomenal for the government.
Phenomenal?
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, you see how rattled it's got me because I can't believe it. But that's what they say. Okay?
Yeah.
So, Trump is looking really damn good in this.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you guys got your shit together better than Canada does already.
I mean, this is where he shines, though. This is a businessman from Queens that likes to get it down and dirty and get things done. And he's going to get it done no matter how he has to.
Right. Well,
and he loves the TV.
Yeah. No, I have a couple questions around this. I mean, you guys shot up to first place as far as the cases of COVID. I'm wondering if this hasn't been around a lot longer than we were led to believe when it finally hit the news. I'm thinking, and this is the way I feel,
which is what Trump has been saying.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I'm saying that is I had a friend. He took his entire family, kids, grandkids, to Disneyland for Christmas. They all got sick with the exact same symptoms as COVID. So they are sitting there quarantined right now going, we believe we've already had it.
So they could test positive because they've already had it.
Could be, but that's one of the bigger problems.
Yeah,
in Canada here is finding the tests being approved to get a test as well.
Oh, exactly. That's the problem here. But to just sort of clarify what you're saying. So they go to Disneyland at Christmas time, say around 12/20, 2019.
Right.
Okay, it wasn't till 1/20 of 2020 that they finally admit to the United States that there's a problem. Well, the United States, to the world. It wasn't just the United States.
Right.
Okay. I believe that you're onto something because one doctor said that there could have been cases in the United States as early as November.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, it wouldn't have been epidemic or pandemic. Nothing starts out that way.
Of course.
It takes a little time.
Right.
China lies about everything. Okay, if you look at the numbers coming out of China, okay, they're saying 1% of their population died.
Right.
Okay, when you look at Spain and Italy and even South Korea, who did a phenomenal job of trying to control the spread.
Right.
You are looking at 10% death rate in Italy and Spain, and about 6% in South Korea. How is it that China, ground zero, got 1%?
Yeah, that's a non-believable number by any means. There's definitely something fishy in there, and I don't think anybody in the world or in the Western world will believe China anyways.
Well, 2 weeks after they said, when China came out and the scientists over there started being in contact with the American doctors and scientists,
right?
They said they were tripping over bodies.
They did. You're exactly right. And that's the doctor that's dead now?
Yes. There were so many bodies, they were dropping and dying faster than they could even figure out what they were dying from. So, I mean, if you take the contact of, like, New York is our worst spot, how many people are in New York and the close proximity of people, now magnify that to China.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable. It's mathematics. It can't happen the way they say that.
Think about how closely, I think that's kind of what the Hammer's saying, these people live like sardines. I mean, worse than in New York and Manhattan.
Right.
How did they fare so well?
Well, I did see a video on Facebook. It was done by a Japanese journalist, so it was all subtitled. It wasn't in English, so you had to sit there and read subtitles. But he went to Nanjing, I believe, to see how they've got barely any cases in Nanjing, and everything is very, very strange and weird over there. You go to a restaurant, you get a divider that divides you like a sneeze guard. So people sit apart, and with these sneeze guards in. When you order food out of a fast food restaurant, it comes with like a receipt with all the people that have touched your food and their body temperature. It's listed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's listed on your food. Now, any place you go, before you enter a building or any place like that, you have to have an app, a government app, and you have to scan this QR code. So basically, they're tracking every single place a person is at and what he does. And that's how they've got 0 cases. And if you're a foreigner, you just don't get into public spaces. Like, there's no sightseeing going on. You don't get in there unless you're a citizen.
Wow.
Yeah. So I read a story the other day that Google has this app that basically does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a globalist absolute dream.
Well, and Google has worked a lot with China.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, they have operated the mechanisms of the internet to satisfy the Chinese government. And, there's been a lot of complaint about that. A few years ago, in fact, we talked about it, I believe, the first year we had the show, about Google's relationship with, I'm calling it the regime.
Right.
Because it is a communist regime.
Yes.
And, it defies what the internet's supposed to be about, and it defies what the United States government, a United States company should succumb to, just for the sake of almighty dollar.
Right. Well, I think the longer this goes on as well, the more people that jump on the conspiracy theory wagon. There's friends on Facebook that, they keep going, everything's just too fishy. This is, there's something that's not right. And when so many people are doing that, there's something's probably not right. So it spawned all these conspiracy theories that George Soros was behind this, the Democrats and the liberals, because we have a disease lab in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the center of Canada. You guys have one in Washington, and they both fired Chinese employees just before this all happened, like last summer.
Really?
Yeah, and those things have all been buried and hidden, and there's nothing on them anymore. So you can't even find it in the news. So whatever it is, or whatever it was buried. So that's pretty sketchy right there. And Wuhan, where it all basically started, has a disease lab. So,
oh yes, they do. Yeah.
I mean, there's that theory, and it only makes sense that the government would want to track you like this, convert you to basically socialism or communism to live like this, so they can control every aspect of our lives.
Well, basically, I hate to say it, but China is not the only country that has resorted to that type of spying,
right,
to track the virus. Israel did too.
Ah.
And you know how I feel about Israel.
Right.
And there are words that it was considered in the United States. Now, whether Trump was on board on that or not, I don't know. And I certainly would hope he would not be.
Yeah.
First of all, I think at the end of the day, it's like, what did you say the other day that one of the scientists or the doctors said 3 weeks ago, people that had the virus knew where they got it.
Right.
I flew in from blah, blah, blah. I was on the cruise ship, and now
they don't know where they got it. They can't figure it out.
Right. Well, it's just very fishy. Like something just doesn't feel right, and everybody's feeling that. And another theory is, well, China did this on purpose to crash the world market so they could snap up a lot of businesses.
Yeah, if they did that, it backfired. Now, I mean, I feel we were going to talk about this a little bit later, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. These wet meat markets in China, they have got to cease. Now, the WHO, who we give in the United States, that's the World Health Organization, most of the money it takes for them to operate comes from us. And, they don't like us very much. They like China better.
Right.
Needs to get China to shut those things down. Now, what that wet meat market is where you buy things like bats, skunks,
snakes,
all sorts of animals that carry diseases.
Yeah, just
and there is one. We know that bats carry a SARS/coronavirus. Okay, there's lots of coronaviruses.
Right.
COVID-19 is just this particular one. The common cold is a coronavirus.
Correct.
So there are different coronaviruses. Each one has either a pet name, like SARS,
right,
or they have the number after it, like COVID-19. I imagine all of them actually have a number code, but we sometimes know them as MERS, SARS, different names. This one we are calling the coronavirus. In fact, if you will, when you ask Alexa, she even refers to it as the novel coronavirus, because there are other coronaviruses.
Right.
So that we should, but these bats definitely carry SARS.
Well, all you have to do is search YouTube for Wuhan market, and good luck making it through that video, because you're either going to want to puke or you're going to want to cry, because there's cats and dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Rats, snakes. I mean, who wants to eat an asshole out of a snake? But apparently some people do. Who knows?
Yeah, well, not this person, but I will tell you that one city in China has just stepped up to the plate and said, no more eating cats and dogs. They did not say anything about other animals. But maybe that's a start. But I'll tell you who can come in and do something about it is the World Health Organization.
Yeah, I've lost faith in them.
I have too. And if they don't do something about China and the wet markets, then you know what? We should quit sending money to them, because they are not worth it.
Yeah, well, I thought it was their job to stop things like this, create laws. It's, no travel out of China. That kind of thing should have been enacted a long time ago, and they sat back on their laurels. They did sweet tweet the entire time. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I just don't get it.
Just absolutely ridiculous, and we cannot forget. I mean, 911 was horrible. I mean, and when I compare it, this is going to be. There's going to be 100 times more death.
Right.
Well, at this state, they're predicting 1,000 times more deaths than 911. 911 was an event.
Right.
This is long term. I'm not young. Never in my lifetime has anything been truly shut down because, more than a church service or a few outlying schools for a flu or a virus.
Right.
Never in the city I live in have they shut down anything significant. I don't even think Springfield schools, where we live, has ever shut down because of the flu.
Right.
Or a virus.
What's happening right now here in British Columbia is the schools are setting themselves up with Zoom accounts, which is a video messenger. So they're going to start instructing students from home.
Now, do you all have internet?
I'm sure some.
For internet,
oh yeah, of course we pay very dearly for internet. Internet and cell phone service we pay probably the most in the world, and that's not a joke.
Lot.
Yeah.
That's like our biggest bill in this house, next to insurance.
Yeah, so that brings to mind. I mean, if schools and universities are going to start instructing online, then internet service becomes an essential service.
Yeah, I mean, because you've got children that will not be able to learn,
or they don't have a computer.
Have access. Yeah, what if they don't have a computer?
A working computer.
I mean, we have already in Springfield gone to online learning. I believe, have they said that the schools aren't going to open back up? I mean, they said the universities are not opening back up this year. I think they've already said it about the schools. I think that, and I know the little kids across the street, their mom is teaching them. We've ran into a couple of people that talked about, we were at one of the grocery stores the other day, and we ran into our dental person, and she said, I had to run out and get food coloring because the homeschool projects they're sending online have all these, things you need I don't have in the house, and so now I'm out exposing myself for my kid.
Yeah,
which doesn't make any sense.
No.
And that's kind of how those things go, and always, not everybody's got food coloring sitting around,
Yeah.
So we've already gone to that, but we have, we have at least, what would you say, half of our city that the children would not have computers and internet access.
More than that.
Yeah, I mean, we have, we live certainly in a corridor where everybody's got access.
Right.
But half to 3/4 of the city is very, very poor.
Well, I worked remotely as a journalist for quite a number of years, and using Skype, using Zoom, and programs like that, they never work properly for everybody. There's always somebody in a conference call that is having an issue. So can you imagine that with all the kids? Like, wow. There's going to be at least 10% of the kids that aren't going to be able to get schooling because of one thing or another, either the internet or not having a device that's compatible.
And in the United States, I don't know about Canada, but I do know that in the United States, that is the one thing we are supposed to provide an education to every child, no matter what.
Yeah, here too, exactly.
So there's going to be these secondary issues. This is the most important thing that has happened in most of our times. And I don't want to say that to diminish Korea or Vietnam or, Afghanistan or Iraq, any wars.
Right. Yeah, this is new.
This is on our turf.
Oh, this is new. This is warfare against the germ world. This is, the world will change after this, for sure.
Oh, it will never be the same. We will never, I don't know if we'll ever go back to shaking hands again.
Right.
That will be kind of a theme. People will probably continue to be arrested for not following protocol when it comes to coughing and sneezing. We're having people arrested right now. If you don't cough into the crook of your arm, we had a doctor arrested.
Wow. Well, I just don't get it.
Up a cough.
If you're sick, stay the fuck home.
Yeah, and anything else is sociopathic. I've said that before on here. If you think that you're so wonderful that you should be able to go out sick, then you don't give a damn about other people.
Right.
And that, in fact, speaks to a psychological disorder.
Yeah, and we're going to see a lot more of those.
And the hate Trump never stops.
I know. Well, it's his fault, right?
It is. Okay, now the media wants to stop airing his coronavirus briefings, even though the American people are watching them. The ratings are exploding. But they are threatening to stop airing his briefings. And we all know why that is. They can't stand for people to be watching him. Yeah,
absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there.
Now, we are, a month into this? I don't know. I mean, when was the official date we got into this? Okay, Shifty Schiff already wants to investigate Trump for his handling of coronavirus.
Oh, of course.
And you gotta wonder. There are a lot of people that say that the impeachment proceedings pretty much put us behind the curve on this virus.
Yeah, everybody was distracted with that farce.
Yeah,
if I can say that.
Yeah, but but it sounds right.
Well, that's one of the things that Schiff said, that why he wants to investigate Trump, because Trump made the comment that the Congress was wasting time with the impeachment, and that maybe they could have, if they wouldn't have been wasting time with that, they could have got information out to the people or received information more readily. And he said, see, I told you. I mean, it's just ridiculous that we got people dying, by the minute, but by God, you better blame it on Trump.
Well, the Democrats showed their cards when they tried to slip in all the things that they wanted into the stimulus bill, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And I was telling the Hammer, I just got an email a couple hours ago, and it's, I sometimes get on here and joke about some of the crap the Republican Party says.
Right.
Like, buy Valentine's for our Trump Valentine's,
Yeah.
And stupid stuff like that. But today, they said they wanted money, which a lot of times they do want money, but they want to start a fund specifically to get someone else elected in Nancy's district besides Nancy Pelosi. And you know what? Even another Democrat, who cares? I mean, it would be another Democrat. I honestly think that is the best idea the Republicans have come up with. We need to save the United States from Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, she is a absolute train wreck. She's too concerned with Trump to be any good for anything else.
Exactly. And anybody would, even if they weren't better, they could not be worse, because they would not have the seniority.
Right.
And the stature she's built. Because she is, like you said, she's a train wreck. She's off the rails.
Yeah. Her performance during this has been disgusting.
Absolutely. We have to worry about the economy. We had 6.6 million people file for unemployment last week. That is certainly a record breaker. Last week we had 3.6 million, and that was a record breaker. This is temporary though, and also businesses, hire back your people, go down to your bank, get the loan that will be forgiven by June,
Right.
and pay your people.
Right. Well,
You don't have to give them this unemployment.
we have a 75% wage subsidy going to businesses. How that's going to be dealt out is kind of a nightmare, and a lot is unsure at this point. But I mean, how long can this go on like that?
I don't know. I think we're definitely looking at 60 days. Everything the government has done has been in consideration of an 8-week cycle.
Right.
Okay, which is, of course, 2 months. So,
Well, I think here, if I'm hearing things right, by the end of April, things should start opening up again.
yeah, you guys apparently are a little ahead of us or are better contained, and it may just be because of your population.
Less people,
Yeah,
and it's just the other day it was minus, I don't know, 30. If it's not that today on the prairies, so
And it could
kind of
be,
hard
and
for
you
a
guys-
virus to survive
you
that.
guys could hit another surge in the summer
Yeah,
if it goes dormant.
summer
If it
colds are a
keeps
thing here.
warmer.
Yes,
Yeah.
summer colds are the nastiest
You guys
in their
will have
thing.
to be careful.
Yeah.
Now, I write little notes down here, and the hammer said, "Now, what about those dumbass cruise ship people?"
Yeah. That is scary. There's a cruise ship floating around right now where a lot of the people aboard have coronavirus, and I think there's been 4 deaths on that ship already.
Yeah, nobody wants them to die.
How in the hell when this was breaking, do you say, first of all, most of those places you've got to fly down to the port to take off.
Right.
So let's go through an airport and let's jump on a plane with a bunch of people we don't know. Now
Yeah.
let's get in
A petri dish.
let's get into a confined space with 200 to 500 complete strangers, and we're all going to breathe and touch, and you can't get 6 feet away from anybody on a cruise ship.
Yeah, exactly.
It just boggles my mind that these idiots, and then they want the United States to use their resources to bail them out.
Yeah.
Let's
Rescue them.
send a boat.
One of
Come
the
get
governors just doesn't even want to let them die.
Yeah,
Governor
that.
DeSantis,
Yeah.
there's one cruise ship floating around out there. The president finally called him and said, Ron, you need to let him dock. And he goes, I need to protect my own damn people.
Yeah, that I
He's
believe.
got a point.
I believe there are some Canadians on that one ship as well, and they're basically looking for support, and nobody wants them.
Yeah. And I can see it both ways. Except I'm kind of like the hammer. Why did you get on the ship in the first place?
Yeah.
He hasn't been out that long.
Well, I think one thing has got to change in any public gatherings, any sports, any flying, any public transportation, anything like that, is we're going to need people that are taking temperatures. And if you have a temperature, go home.
Right.
2 weeks, go home.
Don't flapjack. Be nice.
Yeah.
Just be nice. We all have to be nice through this.
My favorite line in the Roadhouse, when Patrick Swayze's telling all the bouncers there at the first one, what if they spit in my face? Just be nice. What if they spit on me and tell me they've got corona? Just be nice. Like those people that were doing it to the New York cops.
Yeah.
Those people ought to be strung up on the city square.
Yeah.
You know what? That's not fun. That's like getting on the airplane and going, bomb!
Yeah.
It's the same type deal. Some of these people...
Well, speaking of flights, I think today in the coronavirus meeting, he's going to stop some domestic flights, like New York, Michigan is apparently exploding. New Orleans is exploding. I do want to mention that they're saying 41% of the deaths are people with diabetes.
Right.
And they said so many people in New Orleans, Louisiana, have diabetes that they know that there's going to be an amazing amount of deaths.
Yeah, it seems like the ones that are dying from this virus have underlying health conditions in some way. And it's why the elderly are being hit so hard as well.
And we have two kids. Well, we have a future daughter-in-law with type 1 diabetes, and we have a son with type 1 diabetes.
Right.
So that we are particularly fearful of that. And 41% is very, very high.
Right.
So,
I've got a question for the Hammer. What's the car world going to look like after this?
Actually, it will be a boom, one of the biggest booms we've ever had, probably since 2008, because, well, in the markets that they've shut down, because GM, I'm speaking for them because that's the one I know about, they will definitely have to try to make up numbers.
Right.
They've got all these parts that they've purchased from all their suppliers that they have got to manufacture the vehicles to get to the dealers so that they can take their money from the dealers. Well, right now our lots are full. We cannot take any more until they do something. So there will be deals that are just astronomical. And when you have good new car deals, you have great used car deals because there's lots of good used trade-ins. And so whenever this does end, let's say presumed by the end of the second quarter, the second quarter's numbers will be so bad, but the third and fourth quarters will be
the catch up.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping there's enough to catch up.
Right.
That short amount of time.
The Hammer, who is AKA the Caddy Man, will also probably be getting an assistant to get through those last two quarters. So he'll be helping the effort.
Right.
It's
put people back to work.
That's the one thing that will change is, the job market will completely change because there's going to be so many new jobs out there.
Because we're not going to depend on China. Right?
Yes, because of the China deal and because just supply and demand. It's the oldest thing in economics is supply and demand. If they need more, we'll build it. If they need less, we won't build it. That's just the way it is.
How many rolls of toilet paper will you keep on hand after this is over?
Yeah, will people go in and buy a case of toilet paper now? No. So the paper products, when this ends, will maybe their market will go stagnant.
Right.
Speaking of cars run on gas, and of course gas is dictated by the oil market. I hate to tell you this, Connor, but we just paid $1.49 a gallon for gas.
Wow. Well, hey, there's a few places in Canada that they're like, 59 cents, things like that per liter. So, what's that, $2.50? So that's like a third of what we're paying here. Actually, gas is under $1 a liter, and there's 4.5 liters in a gallon.
Well, that's cheap for you guys, but I'm going to take a little dig here because when you got a businessman as president, you know what? He makes things happen.
Yeah.
And we needed that malaria drug because it is working. Okay.
Right.
We have a trial that says it is. We have all kinds of information that says yes, it's working. Okay, we didn't have enough, so the president gets on the phone with his nemesis, Putin, Vladimir Putin, and Putin sends over some meds. Guess what just happened today? The price of oil is up 25% because to get Putin to send us meds over, I'm pretty sure Trump says, I'll get involved and get the price of oil up.
Right.
Guess what happens? The price of oil's up.
Yeah.
25%. So don't enjoy $1.49 too long.
Too long. No, I didn't think it was going to last too long.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I do want to say that Franklin Graham, a lot of people are doing some really cool things. Franklin Graham has the Samaritan's Purse charity. He's got a hospital up in Central Park, staffed.
Oh, wow.
Beds, drugs, ventilators, doctors, nurses, everybody. His dad filled stadiums, with preaching the word of God, Franklin has never done that I know of. But he has this Samaritan's Purse that does amazing things, and they put a hospital up in like 2 days.
That's amazing.
It is awesome. A golden retriever delivered groceries to his neighbor.
Oh, wow.
It was in quarantine. How cool is that?
That is great. Yeah.
We have to talk about booze sales. I know that we've been buying more booze in this house.
Yeah.
Okay, overall in the United States, it's up 50%. Tequila, gin, and mixed cocktails that are already in the bottle, we never buy those because we make ours too strong. But anyway, they're up 75%.
Oh, wow. I thought 40% here was good.
People are having a happy hour all day.
Yeah, well.
Just like being on vacation, it's happy hour somewhere.
Well,
when
you go out and we plant a few hundred plants. We come in and clean up and start drinking.
Well, you have to agree that it's a pretty interesting time.
It is definitely interesting times, and Paul McCartney, I have to say, has had, I don't know what's wrong with his brain, but he said yesterday that the Rolling Stones copied the Beatles.
Oh.
It took him 60 years to figure that out.
Oh, that is too funny.
He's getting senile.
He's getting the bad shit now. When they used to get the good stuff. He must
The coronavirus has him getting senile.
He must have got some bad stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, we do hope everybody's safe. Today's International Read a Book to a Child Day. Get on Skype, make a video, read it to children. You can still do it, even though you can't do it in person.
Right.
And so Godspeed, Connor, and Godspeed to all of our friends out there. Thanks for listening. You guys are listening to us. Play your own. Thank you.
Yes, and you guys, Godspeed to both of you. Be safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
For sure.
All right, take care. Thanks for listening, everyone.